What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 10th Doctor David Tennant story, Midnight. It is our next episode from Series 4, and yeah, it's Midnight, a story that gets talked about a lot. It's a fan favourite, fair to say. It is a companion light story, not a Doctor light story. This is one where Donna doesn't really appear at all in this story, very briefly at the start and at the end, but other than that, it is completely just the Doctor and a completely kind of guest cast, and a pretty good guest cast on the most part. But yeah, a very claustrophobic story as well. It was done on a budget, I think, used like one set, one main set, and yeah, it is a fan favorite story. So let's see what my thoughts are on it. Let's get started with the cast. David Tennant as the 10th Doctor. I mean, David Tennant, he has to steal the show here. He has to carry this. There's no Donna throughout this one for the majority of the story, so David really has to take on the lead here, and my God, he does. He is so good in this story, from him getting possessed to him just trying to, calm everybody down on the train or bus or whatever you want to call it. Just all around his chemistry with all the other actors as well. Really, really good. It's such a good story for David Tennant. Catherine Tate as Donna Noble. I mean, I always talk about the companion in these slots, but really there's nothing to say about Catherine Tate here because, yeah, she appears at the start talking to the Doctor on the phone. She's at the end hugging him, and yeah, that's about it really for Catherine Tate, so there's not really anything I can say. Let's get into some points for Midnight. The Doctor turning off the entertainment. So he gets on this kind of bus tour thing with all these other guests, and it starts with the hostess puts all these it's going to be like a really long drive. She puts all this entertainment on the screens, and there's flashing lights, there's music, there's a show playing, there's just so much going on, and you can tell everybody on this bus is not wanting to deal with this, and the Doctor just pulls out a sonic screwdriver and turns it off, and basically makes everybody have to start talking to each other. And it's a funny little scene where he's like, I guess we'll just have to talk to each other. It's kind of reminiscent, I mean, not reminiscent, but I guess looking forward to that scene in, I think it's one of the Dalek episodes, isn't it? I'm not sure if it's a Resolution or if it's the other Dalek episode where that family's like, the power goes off, the internet goes off, and they say like, oh, we'll have to like talk to each other or something. That's a really cringy moment just with how that plays out. This is a very similar scene to that, but I don't know, it works better. It works better in this context. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's a funny scene. The shuttle stops. So yeah, the shuttle for some reason stops and everybody starts panicking because, there's a couple of people, they've been on this shuttle many times before and it never stops. So yeah, there's something weird going on, but it seems like maybe the crew are trying to hide something. They're just like, oh, it's just a routine stop. It's like, no, this never happens. So yeah, there's something weird going on. The co-pilot saw something out the window. So the Doctor ends up getting into the kind of engine, or not the engine room, just the control room really, and starts talking to the pilot and co-pilot, and they open up the window. They're like, oh, we can't actually open up the window. You'll die with the radiation. But he's like, oh no, you can open it up for a little bit. It's fine with the shields and stuff. So they open it up, and the co-pilot thinks he sees something in the distance, but it's like nothing can survive out on this planet. So it's like, surely you can't have seen anything, but there's obviously something going on here. Everyone's starting to panic. So yeah, once we're stopped for a long time, and eventually something kind of destroys, kind of gets in or on top of the ship, on top of the bus, and basically rips the front off, completely, killing the pilot and co-pilot, and it's just no longer with the bus anymore. Everybody starts panicking, and it becomes this frantic craziness, and the Doctor this is where the Doctor really has to take charge to try and get everybody calm, but let's be honest, it doesn't really work. A lot of people explaining things we can see. So this is one of my critics with this episode. I'll be honest, everybody raves about Midnight. It's never been one of my favorite episodes. I mean, I like it. I love what it did. It's a very different sort of story and it works in what it's trying to do. But there are things that annoy me about it, and this is one of them. Everybody just starts to kind of say things and they're like, oh, this is happening, and oh, look, that person's doing this and this person's doing that. It's like, yeah, I can see the screen. I am watching, I think Jeffro is the kid, isn't he? He played by, I don't know what the actor's name is, but he's Merlin in the Merlin TV show. I know that because I've watched Merlin. His parents, especially his mum, she's one of the worst for it. Just seems to a lot of the time say, hey, look, that person's doing this and that person's doing that. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to explain this to everybody else. It just sounds really it sounds scripted. It doesn't sound natural. And us watching, we don't need that because, yeah, we can see what's happening here. Something got into the shuttle and has possessed Sky, and now she's repeating everything everyone says. So yeah, once all this craziness happens, Sky's in the corner. It seems like whatever's, on top of this ship, on top of this bus. I keep saying ship, it's just like a bus really. Whatever's on this bus is kind of going towards her. All the lights go out, but then it all calms down again. She's in the corner, kind of curled up, and when they go over to her, when the doctor goes over to her, she removes her hands from her face. She looks terrified, and she starts repeating what everybody else says. People will talk, and she starts repeating what they're saying. Everyone starts turning on the doctor. So the doctor is, of course, trying to figure out what's going on here, and I guess he seems a little bit intrigued, like, this is strange. What is going on here? And the doctor, although he doesn't want bad things to happen, when things are happening like this, he is very, and especially when it's something new, he is very intrigued and wants to know what's going on. And people kind of twig onto that and think, hang on a minute, you seem really interested in this, you seem almost excited, and they think that he's a part of this. And basically everybody on the bus starts turning on the doctor. And this is a real kind of shift in the whole dynamic here because, everybody was, really chatty with the doctor before and, he was going around talking to everyone, being friendly with everyone. Now everybody seems to be turning on him. The doctor is now possessed as well. So the doctor is the one mainly talking to Sky, and eventually Sky stops repeating what everybody else is saying, and she just starts repeating what the doctor's saying. And by this point as well, she's not just repeating like a second after they've talked. They're talking at like the same time now. So they're literally like the doctor and Sky are talking simultaneously, and then eventually, in a really good scene, I mean, it's such an amazing scene. It goes from, her repeating to talking at the same time to then all of a sudden the doctor's now the one repeating and he looks terrified and he's sat there seemingly frozen. And it's the way that scene is shot and directed and it's just all put together is so good. They tried throwing the doctor out, but the hostess figured it out and sacrificed herself to throw Sky out. So, yeah, basically, once the doctor gets taken over, Sky's then able to move. She gets up. She, starts talking to the others. And let's be honest, the others are all pretty stupid on the most part. Because, she gets up. She still does not seem right. But, now she's the one talking. He's repeating what she's saying. But the hostess figures out that I think it's actually, what's her name? I think her name is Poe, is it? Or Poosh, no, Poosh, because her name was after the lost moon of Poosh or something. I think her name was Poosh. She's the one that kind of twigs on to start with, but then the hostess figures it out at the end when they're trying to grab the doctor to throw him out. The hostess goes, no, she's taken his voice still because she starts saying like Alonzi and molto bene and all that sort of stuff that the doctor says. So she twigs on about that and she ends up throwing Sky out and basically sacrificing herself to save everyone else. So that is it for Midnight. A rating out of 10. I do struggle with this one a little bit. I'm going to go for an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, this could be a 10 out of 10 episode for sure. It's just those little things to me, like people, just stating the obvious and explaining things that we can see ourselves, and it doesn't feel natural in a conversation either with the other people. That, plus a lot of the people just being a bit stupid. I mean, I guess you can say that they're in a very stressful situation, so they're not thinking straight. I guess you could say that, but I don't know. It does annoy me, although I like the cast of this on the most part and, how everybody interacts, good or bad. They do feel quite annoying, but I think it's supposed to be the case that they're annoying. But yeah, there's just something about it that doesn't quite twig with me, but still an 8.5 out of 10, maybe even a 9 out of 10. But yeah, an 8.5 is what I'm going to give Midnight at the moment. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.